Hi, my name is Ryan Kong, and I'm representing the UW-Madison student chapter of the American Institute of Chemical Engineers, or AIChE, for the 90-day equity challenge. So we're a professional engineering society on campus, and we host social and professional development events for chemical engineering students. AIChE is also one of the ways students find camaraderie with other chemistry students outside of the classroom. So the committee of people who worked with me together on this were Kami Zusman, Misha Dyskin, Sarah Bender, Nathan Zawicki, and Ben Barn. The problem we were trying to tackle was to instill a culture of inclusion and a sense of belonging felt among our members. So there can sometimes be a feeling of exclusion from our more senior members, especially toward younger students and women. And this problem exists because of a high percentage of people in chemistry who are men, and this is reflected in AIChE as well. Younger students might feel excluded because AIChE can sometimes form cliques that are quite isolating, and these were problems that we wanted to solve through the 90-day challenge. The first thing we did to identify the problem and who was affected was to actually look at data to help us answer whether there really was a problem to begin with. We found some data published by the UW-Madison Registrar about the demographics for each major in college. And the data we've plotted here shows the demographics of the chemical engineering major compared to the entire College of Engineering, broken down by both sex and by class as of spring 2020. And we can see that while there's still not as many women chemical engineers as we would like, the chemical engineering major is doing just slightly better than the College of Engineering as a whole in that department. The reason why the data shows so little freshmen is because for UW-Madison, you do have to apply at the end of your freshman year to get into the chemical engineering program. And it's a time where students don't really know what they want to do. So it's not surprising that the data doesn't reflect the true number of students who are interested in chemical engineering. Ideally, we would have liked to compare this data to AIChE to see where we stand as a group, but unfortunately, we didn't have previous data from active members to do this. But from our qualitative observations, we were at most only 1/3 female and had very little representation from younger students. And we believe that we needed to put greater effort into creating a sense of inclusion and belonging to improve that number. The next thing we did was to create a group to approach the problem. We chose these people to be part of the committee because we felt their different expertise in different aspects of our organization would be beneficial. And the next step was to gather as a group to brainstorm solutions to this problem. We enlisted the help of Tessa Pham, who was an officer of the Society of Women Engineers and a volunteer at the College of Engineering Diversity Affairs Office. So she had some really useful insight into what we could do to address our challenge. The solutions that we came up with and considered implementing were study nights to help with recruitment of younger students, a mentor-mentee program to also help with the same issue, and to help with our recruitment of women students, we wanted to try maybe inviting more female professors to give research seminars. The solution we ended up selecting, though, were the study nights. So study nights were 2-hour chunks of time for students of all classes to work on homework and for upperclassmen with expertise to help underclassmen. So the reason we chose this approach was the ease of implementation. It was something that could occur weekly and it wasn't just a one-time event. We also knew that chemical engineers were very busy and we found that a lot of friendships were made during studying sessions. Chemical engineers at UW-Madison devote a lot of their time towards studying anyway. We don't want to spend a lot of our time doing other things when we could be finishing up problem sets. So we thought, why not turn studying into something that AIChE could host? I also had a job as a TA for CBE 250, which was a class for sophomores. And I believe I could leverage my position and advertise these events to them to get our attendance from younger students up. So this data is of attendance in our events throughout the semester broken down by class and by sex. And it's only taking into account members who were not also officers because that would have skewed the data a bit since our officers tend to attend most of our meetings. There was an overall decrease in attendance as midterms and finals ramped up, but we saw a healthy and steady distribution of freshmen and sophomore students. And we believe that having these study nights interspersed throughout our semester helped us achieve that. There was a decrease in upperclassmen though, so we would like to work on incentivizing those students to come more often in order to have people with more expertise who can help out with more class subjects. From the graph on the right, you can see that there was also a good amount of female students who attended the events. There's also a really high representation of women in our first resume review event, so that's something we hope to take advantage of moving forward. The data shown here on the right side is of the non-officer students who were involved with AIChE this semester, and this shows our success in increasing female attendance overall, and major success with increasing freshman turnout, at least compared to the entire chemical engineering population on campus. We expect this high number of freshmen to carry through to the next semester and increase our sophomore numbers. So we learned that study nights were great at increasing engagement, and the new AIChE officer team actually reflects our efforts in this challenge. So we just held our officer election, and there are now more women officers. So one of the newly elected officers was a frequent attender of the study nights, and she says that study nights were a huge help, and it's why she wanted to get more involved with AIChE. We thought this was a pretty good success in maintaining better numbers of younger students and female students, given by the attendance data shown on the previous slide. However, we would have liked to see more attendance in all the other events, particularly professional development events, especially as the semester progressed. To achieve this, we'll take advantage of the study nights to advertise other events since they were so successful. We also want to make it easier to join our emailing list, so we plan to hand out flyers next semester with QR codes to help facilitate this. One of the solutions we wanted to try implementing was getting more female professors to speak at research seminars. The main thing hindering us was scheduling issues, so we'll try to fix this by getting started on scheduling these talks earlier in the semester or even during the summer. So in summary, we learned that having these study nights regularly helps students get to know and bond with each other better, and not just having professional development events like we used to in the past is actually what keeps students, especially younger students, from coming back. For our female members, we learned that recruiting directly from friend groups or from classes was the best way to get them involved. We also learned that we want to pay it forward. So we have reached out to groups like SWE and other organizations on campus to help us with this challenge, and we saw the value of having their input, and we hope to pay that forward by connecting with other AIChE chapters in our region to help those that might be struggling from the same issues that we've been struggling with. We've been pretty isolated from our regional chapter in the past, so we've recently begun reaching out and being more involved with our sister groups by competing in things like Chem-E-Car, where we see who can build the best chemical reaction-powered vehicle. This is just one of the first steps we're taking to engage the undergraduate chemical engineering community outside of UW-Madison more, and we hope to continue expanding in that area. So yeah, thank you for listening.